Well, so just to welcome you to the space of the Backpacker, sponsored by one of the sponsored JM. Okay, we'll review on agoda.com.
Yeah.
But I have BC Poppas, as they are known also on their podcast. Right, available on Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify.
Right? Both of you. Right, it's the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so I know Jon because of Jiu Jitsu, and then you know each other because of Jiu Jitsu.
Right.
So I know Jojo now because of Jiu Jitsu, the connections of the Jiu Jitsu, and we are here in Guimaras, right? Because we visited the rehabilitation center for the youth, right? So let me give it to Jojo real quick. Can you give me a little overview of the work you've been doing in Bacolod, why it's led to us being here in Guimaras?
All right, so I started working with like street kids first. So through F2L, we volunteered teaching basketball to street kids, and then eventually I kind of fell into I found I found fulfillment on just seeing the kids, connecting with the kids and seeing them happy that there's somebody an adult who's not their peers, who's willing to listen or just hang out and talk. So then the more I did that, and then eventually went to the SDC, which is a facility in Bacolod for the children in conflict with the law, so they have cases against them. But
we were saying it's the Social Development Center.
So yeah, it's under.
But serioso, Detention Center. Yeah, Development Center it's supposed to be.
But it's not. Those kids are under 18, so minors. So when I started working there, I started going there every week, just playing basketball, connecting. And so some of the kids who had their cases already, how do you call that?
Sentenced?
Yeah, they're already sentenced. So when they reach a certain age, 18, so they can't stay there anymore. So they should transfer to this regional youth center. So what they do is some of the kids we connected over there at SDC, now they're here in Guimaras, which is another island in the Visayas. So we have to ride a ferry to go here. So those guys who were sentenced already have to stay here and then wait for their time here. So most kids, they will be let out when they turn 21. Some who has heavier cases, I guess, they stay a little longer, but I think the oldest is 25, but that says he's going out soon also. So that's what I do.
But so that guy who's 25, he's been there since he was under 18?
Ooh.
Whoa. Okay,
welcome to the Philippines.
Welcome to the Philippines. The gear is still running.
Yeah, oh, really?
But damn.
Wow. Cool. You got a video
this is the nighttime edition.
It's all right.
We got low light setting.
No, but this is Guimaras is such a small island, so really you can't complain.
Oh.
The white lady.
See, white lady.
You were talking about it earlier.
Oh my God.
I know. It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the audio.
Yeah.
But continue.
Dude, it's that kid who's 25 now, I think he was here a year ago, I think. So, but he's been staying there at SDC for, I'm not really sure the exact thing, but I'm pretty sure he's been there 2 years. I'm not sure the exact, but because I've been going there since, I forget when.
Almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah. But he was there already when I got there. So, but he got here in Guimaras, the RRCY. But he's set to be released like late this year, yeah, or early next year.
How did you all start in SDC, especially by bringing N2L also? So like Nothing to Lose recap from my podcast with John is where y'all started with like basketball scholars, now volleyball, right?
Welcome.
And then y'all started trying to go to the SDC Detention Center in Bacolod. So how did that start, and why did y'all go into that?
Well, we my wife sometimes hosts different volunteer groups that come out, and her one of her really good friends is a French lady from Verlani Foundation, Sarah, and the Verlani Foundation partnered with the Social Development Center in Bacolod to like be their program directors. So they would be the ones to bring in like people who do art, music, martial arts, or whatever they could find who would be people who would be willing to go there and interact with the kids. You know, they would try to bring people there, you know. So as my wife was friends with Sarah, you know, she would invited her that if you ever have volunteers, you know, depending on what they do, maybe they could come out here, you know. So we had gone out there to the SDC a couple times, and I mean, to be honest, I wasn't really into it, you know. I just felt like, I'm not necessarily protective of N2L, but like, hey, you know, we really given our time, and so I always want to be with partners who like are really into like what they're doing. And not to say Verlani, but I felt like, you know, the current administration or whatever at that time wasn't really into, you know, developing in the development center.
At SDC.
Yeah.
So you're saying
I mean, you know, because you're like, hey, it's not for me. It's not for me. But what happened was we would still, it wasn't for me with N2L, but we would still bring like other volunteers, you know, not from N2L, to go there if they wanted to. And so I went one time to just kind of support my wife, and I had met one of the kids that we saw actually here at Guimaras, and man, we just had this great interaction. And it just kind of came to me that I had just come from a Nothing to Lose basketball camp that went really well. One of the scholars who's with us now, his name is Lloyd, he was like our MVP and Warrior Award guy, and man, he just did so well at this camp, and as a scholar and as a player, and it just seemed like this leadership all over him, right? Well, when I met this one kid who is now at the RRCY here, I saw that kid and I just saw kind of Lloyd's face over him. And I was like, why does this guy has just as much potential as Lloyd, who I see as a potential leader, a great scholar. I said, this guy, for whatever reason, man, this interaction with me, I felt the same thing when I interact with Lloyd. I was like, this guy's got the same amount of potential. And it just so happens that, you know, he's made some, you know, poor choices for whatever reason, you know, and here he has to, you know, pay for those choices that he's made. But I was like, man, if you call yourselves Nothing to Lose, like, you know, I kind of felt this thing where, you know, we could keep working with college students, athletes, and things like that, or we could also add and really start working with these kids in these really tough situations who've been, you know, accused of crimes, convicted of crimes, and things like that. And so after that kind of feeling, I saw Jojo right after at the Jiu Jitsu gym, and I was like, hey man, there's this experience I had. I feel like we should do something there. What do you think? And he immediately was like, let's do it. You know, so we just figured we wouldn't attempt to do the same things we do with the like all-star camp kind of training. We figured we'd just go there, they love to play basketball, and just play with them or organize them to play and let them play however they wanted to play, and just use it as a chance to like introduce ourselves and build a relationship.
We didn't have a plan. We just went there. Just kind of like what they call this, like hand them the ball and let them play, and then we just like help them out. Like we made like a little team brackets and then let them play. That's all we did at first, and then the more we do it, the more he was telling me about like the experience that he had with that one kid, and then the more I kind of like I got inspired a little bit what he told me, and then when I kind of look at these kids, it's the same because I have 3 kids of my own, and then plus the school, the jiu-jitsu school. So like every time I see, let's say I teach something with the in jiu-jitsu, kids jiu-jitsu, every time I teach them and then they do it, like the feeling that the fulfillment that I get is like super fulfilling. Like, oh, I taught him that move and then he did it, and then so every time I see that, like I kind of like maybe I can do it to these guys, like kind of like I don't not even teaching them nothing, just like maybe saying something that really connects with them, and then that kind of makes me feel like that, like I'm happy or I did something that like impacted even a small like in that day I made them happy for some reason, something like that. So that's the feeling I get, and we keep on doing like those things every week. So I forget. I'm not good with the timeline sometimes, but like it's the. I forget how long
you've seen a lot of guys come and go.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
You know. So it's been a while. It's been I think it's like going on almost 2 years.
Plus, yeah.
And but yeah. I mean,
and for context, a lot of these kids are in there for like drug running or like selling.
So I think like 80% of these kids are involved in the drugs. A little bit, some of it are heavier crimes, but most is really the drugs, like drug running, or like maybe their parents are into the drug business, and then they're just the scapegoat or something. So.
And so for local in Bacolod, that's shabu.
Yeah,
right?
shabu.
And then that's like meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Speed, like that. And then I forgot, but one of y'all were telling me like how one of the youth there, their whole family is in like parents, siblings, like that.
So one girl. So usually in the SDC, it's mostly boys, but like sometimes it's 4 girls, sometimes it's 2. But this one girl, he had her 18th birthday in the center, so they did the whole like thing. So just it's important to them to feel that they're still kids. The birthday party, the what do you call that? The dance, the 18 Roses dance, something like that.
Damn.
Yeah. But like her story is.
can you tell it?
But their whole family.
You don't say names.
No names.
But her whole family is the dad, the mom, the brother, like her, like all their other relatives are into the selling and the thing. Her mom just actually just got out of jail. That's when she went into the thing, to SDC. So, but most kids are involved in that. But some of them are the petty crimes like theft and like the others.
Bro, imagine that, having your 18th debut in the center, and let's be clear to paint a picture of the rooms in these places. They're like no beds, right? Some of them have foam, but it's like deteriorated, ripped foam, like the inside of bed covers. It's just the actual foam, right? And then some of the kids are in like a cell. They're not allowed to leave because they've done something, right? And they're there for like weeks, right? And then just to juxtapose it on what I saw in Bacolod like 2-3 weeks ago at the El Fisher Hotel, I saw someone have their debut there. Rich. Right? I thought it was a wedding at first where people were in gowns, like pulling up in nice cars, and then I see a girl just with a crown. I'm like, this is a debut? This is a debut. It's like, how many, with full catering, and like you look inside, the hall is just beautifully decorated, and these are gowns, not just like Forever 21 dresses, right? But gowns, right, with pearls and everything for a debut. And you have somebody else born into a family of like economic struggle and their bad choice in that sense of drugs, and she has her birthday in a center, right?
Sometimes like when you look at those kids, like it's hard to really imagine that they did something like horrible, for example, because they look like just regular kids. You can't even tell. I can't even tell. But some, of course, there's those kids with like rough tattoos, like prison tattoos. But most of them, they look. Some of them have nice tattoos, like even nicer than mine.
Dude was 14 years old, right? Dude was 14-year-old, full sleeve and the full cap.
Age limit.
But they look like just regular kids. They don't they don't look rough. They don't look like some like a thuggish kid. It's just a young guy.
I think one of the things that struck me, like what Sarah would say each time we would bring a volunteer group there, she would say, you know, these children have made some bad choices and have done some of them have done some horrible things, but they're still children. And that struck me, you know, no one ever put it to me like that before, and I was like, well, that's right, you know. And I don't know, being dads and like also, you know, really working with different kinds of kids, different kinds of age groups, you know, that was kind of like, not a challenge, but like just those words, you know, made me think, well, maybe there's also a different perspective of more people that we can help, or more people we could, you know, try to introduce people to that would also have this same kind of calling or mission that people like Sarah or like Jojo, you know, like who like, hey, this is the group I want to go after and make an impact on or share my life with or whatever. So yeah, I mean, when you talk about like, sometimes it's hard to imagine, you know, but yeah, I mean, they're kids, they're youth, they're you know, ripe with potential if you have the eyes for it. You know, I don't know.
And both of you Bacolod based. I know you, John, you've been there like 12 years? 11 years. You, Jojo, you're born and raised there, right? Like, how is it doing work in a like community that you've grown up in? And John was telling me about the level of connectivity you have with some of the youth because you're able to like talk to them in their language and all, like.
So like it's I think it's like, because John, like, he always like teach me and like mentoring me and stuff like that, but it's easy for the kids to relate to me because one, I speak the same language, because in Bacolod we speak Ilonggo, so but they understand Tagalog, and then some of them understand English a little bit, but most of the kids they see me as, who's this guy with the tattoos, with the beard, and then like talking their language with the even like street like talk. I can't, because I had like when I was growing up, I did some bad stuff also. I did some crazy stuff, like, so they kind of like see that I was the same kid that they were when I was young. So, and then I grew up in like, not in a bad neighborhood, but I grew up in the neighborhood that's close to the like rough neighborhood. So I know a lot of people in those neighborhoods. Like for example, there's one neighborhood it's famous with the drugs. This neighborhood is famous for there's a lot of like pickpockets or theft or doing like that. So I've been there because I had a small business before of delivering soft drinks and stuff like that. So I go around those places. I go inside the slum area, if you call it that. So, but I go in there, so I know a lot of people, and then every time I go there, they know me because that's the guy who delivers soft drinks. This is when I was younger. So yeah, so then obviously they know me. I have some crazy stories also about that.
Stories about that.
But like every time I go somewhere, Bacolod is just a small city. So every time I go to those rough places, so I kind of like knew somebody, and then people know me because obviously I'm doing the work. But so every time I go to the kids, like in SDC for example, they ask me, hey, where are you from? So I tell them, hey, I'm from this, from this place, this subdivision, for example. And then they kind of, yeah, I know that, but, and then I ask them, hey, where are you from? And then when they say where they're from, I kind of like, yeah, I know somebody there. And then immediately they kind of like, really? And then I kind of like throw out names and stuff. Of course, I know some of the people, but some, I don't really know them personally, but I know them. But most of the time, I knew people from like that because we were friends before, or we had an interaction, and they know me. So every time they ask me, I ask them if you know this guy, for example, like, and then they know him, and then they kind of like check if really at first they won't believe that I know those people, but they kind of I know they double check. They kind of
name drop.
Maybe the name drop. Like, hey, I know those people, and then you can see they know that I know those people, and then that's when they can trust me because I don't really. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like they kind of like relate to me. So anytime I talk to them, that's where my connection really comes from. That they think or they know that I grew up like the same as they did, but it's just that I'm here now. Like I'm older. I'm doing a little bit better than I was when I was younger. So.
And y'all, because of that, y'all have heard some many stories of even what goes on in SDC, right?
So yeah, a lot of us, some stories in the center, in like those kids that are telling me the stories. They trust me enough to tell those stories because some of those guys, they don't have people to really talk to or listen to what they have to say. So sometimes I go there, I let them play basketball, I sit on the side, I sit with one kid. At first, there's just 5 of them, I sit with them, and they chit-chat a little bit. We watch the game, and then we like talk to them. And some of the guys were just because they don't want to talk, some of those guys. And then some like really like that I can connect with, and then they will really tell their story. I tell my story to them, and then that's when they kind of like I'm that guy who they can like trust. They can say anything that I don't really judge them because they did this or that. I'm just there to listen to what they have to say and kind of like tell my own like story to them. So that's how I like kind of build that relationship with them until now. Those kids are in RRCY now. So we had that promise to them that, hey, don't worry, we will go there someday. Or now we did it, and then they were so happy.
What was y'all's reaction, thoughts on now coming over here to the regional rehab center? So it's where they go after they get sentenced from the SDC, from the Bacolod one, and now to here. What's your initial reactions, thoughts now now that y'all have visited?
Well, I'm as for like the facility itself or just their circumstances, a living situation, I'm like happy for these guys. I'm like so happy for these guys, you know. Without like comparing every little detail, they are truly in a better situation. I'm not an expert, but my perception of like the staff and so a lot of these staff members, some of them have been there like long time, more than 10 years, more, like they're not just coming in and out. So in our talks with the staff members, I felt like they have a lot of interest in seeing these guys do well once they're outside of there. And I think it's a different situation because like they know they're gonna go outside of there, whereas in the first spot, like in SDC, I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen to these guys, and you're just trying to make sure probably people don't like hurt each other and whatnot, but here they seem to be a lot. The kids seem to be more comfortable. It's just only 2.5 days that we've been there, but it seems like what we were shown and we saw with our own eyes, just when even people were showing us, was that more than their basic needs are being met. When we first drove in there, we saw some of these kids sitting on the side, and they were kids that we knew, and they was already waving for us, waving at us, like they was waiting for us. And I feel like that, like in a lot of the work that I've done with young people here, and just in general, like it's a big deal to like keep your promise. Or like when you say something and people don't know you that well, they want to believe it, but how could you ever be sure until the person follows through with it, So I felt like that, as I've experienced that in the past through the foundation, I felt like this was another time I kind of got that feeling again, where the kids were like, oh, okay, this is real, or these dudes are for real, or these guys, they didn't come by themselves, they brought friends, they brought, so I felt that whole experience coming back and seeing these guys there, and honestly, like I was telling Joe, like, man, some of these guys, even though we had an interaction with them, like, they were like different people. Yeah. I don't know the answer. I could theorize, but I mean, I don't know why, but what I felt like was, man, they were more open, talkative, guard was down a lot more, So obviously, I would say that, to me anyways, that it definitely does with some of it's the environment, some of it probably is their situations more certain, in the sense was like when they're at SDC, you're not really sure what's going to happen to you, what's next, and things like that. So, and I mean, I think it's the staff as well, but man, it was crazy. I mean, honestly, I was blown away. I'm still trying to process like what happened. I mean,
Yo, I was so surprised because I've gone to other government-run facilities and institutions, and they've been bad. Right. And then I've done research on DSWD because I even did a presentation on that last month, and there are good things. There are also things to critique, and so I was bracing myself to like see like prison level type of facilities, and we get there, and I'm like, this kind of looks nice, and then I was like, they have a music therapy program. Right, they have instruments to play. Right. And then when we saw the bed, they have actual beds.
With wood.
With wood for themselves. They're for themselves. They're
better than what we the jam backpacker. Jam backpacker. Come on.
They're better beds than this. The bathrooms are good.
Yeah. It's like they are being treated as humans, right?
Right.
Which does not happen in a lot of other institutions where they're like, say, some of the prisons where it's packed, or just like sardines.
We've been
right?
in prison too over
Or
there.
especially since you been to SDC like 2-3 days or 4 days ago.
Just a few days.
Just a few days ago, and then you go here, right? So it's like it's like when I just saw pictures on the website and stuff. You kind of like.
Is it still like that? Is it
I was
really
like thinking.
that?
I was like, maybe it's just for show or something. You go there, it's not going to be like that. And then these kids, some of the kids in SDC who were bound to go to RRCY, those guys, I think in my stay there in SDC, I think at least 6 kids like jumped.
Ran away.
The day of the eve of the transfer, they would bounce because they're afraid of what's going to be next. Because they think it's just they were told they don't trust the people who are telling them, hey,
it's better, or it's good, or
So that's what those kids when I told them in SDC, this is an SDC, when I told them, hey, we're gonna go to RRCY, I'm gonna talk to those guys who were their friends before, or they're like, how do you call that? Like they were from SDC before. I'm gonna go to them. Like they would ask me, hey, please, can you take pictures of their rooms?
Report.
So because I think I don't know if this is true, but like because most of the guys are really scared, they would tell me that I don't know what's going on in there. Because they don't trust the people who are telling them, hey, it's good or it's better or whatever, right? So I was thinking like maybe that's one of our like our job there is to give feedback to these kids like, hey, this is, you don't, because if you jump, for example, if you're about to get transferred to RCY and if you jump, that means you're fugitive. That means you get tried as an adult because you're 18 now. So if you get caught or if you get arrested or whatever, you go to the real jail.
You don't have any more chance to go there.
So you go to the jail, not in the rehab center. So that's even worse because you're 18 and you go to the real jail where those like hard criminals or some of the.
At least the facilities are worse.
Yeah, worse. So that's what I keep telling them.
I mean, there's.
And I met the kids, like those kids who ran. Like after they ran, I still meet them. They still come to me. Still come to to Verlani to talk to me. But they're already like they come like just probably like 20-minute stops. They leave.
They're like hiding. And
but at least they will still like communicate with me. I think they kind of like. Wasn't sure if they did the right choice. Because they're still young and then they're afraid. So that's the.
Can you explain Verlani real quick? What y'all do? What the center is for? What you said?
Verlani is a foundation working with the street kids this time. So these guys they have a open day center in the middle of the city. So they have a facility that street kids can go take a bath, like basic needs, like wash their clothes. They can cook there sometimes, or get services like medical education. They have IELTS programs, they have tutorials, and then they have other activities like independent living programs, and all of those things are available for them. So, but they can't like really stay there. So these kids are the kids who live on the street, don't have any parents. Some do, but they choose to they choose to work and stay in the street. Even babies, they have babies, they have families, all families. Yeah. So I worked there like 7 months or something like that. But at first I was just volunteering, just doing the same thing, the basketball, interacting, and then I finally did like the whole like going around like a street educator thing. So like I kind of get to know the kids. I'm the first guy to interact with them and then tell them about the services they can avail. And then the more trust I build with them, then I can like, hey, we have this program. You want to join because you're a good candidate to join and stuff. So that's what I do. I pick them up in a van, drive them around, drive them to center, then bring them back if they want to, or so they get fed, they get all the service. After they join like an activity, for example, they always get fed, or they can celebrate their birthday there or something like that. So that's what most of the time that's what I do. But this is the street kids.
That's why the other day when we were driving around Bacolod, you'd be knowing like, oh, that's the dude, that's his corner over here, that's his little territory, and he knows this, he saw this happen.
Also, that's the different challenge with those kids because 90% of them are on the drugs, not shabu, but the rugby, the solvent, which is worse. This is just and then
damn worse than
no, but these guys are 8 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old. So this is not like the older kids. This is the young kids.
Yeah,
like,
they're super young.
They're super young, and then all the way up to the parents, like 25-year-old parents.
The parents are also doing rugby.
Yeah. Mom, dad with the baby. So
hey, so what's the thing? Like they put it in a bottle, like a plastic, like water bottle.
Yeah. Remember those Mismo?
Instructional.
They put that thing inside. Then they put it inside their shirt.
They put the rugby inside
the bottle, the plastic bottle. So like a small Coke bottle.
So rugby for folks is just shoe glue.
Shoe glue,
like really.
And then they sniff it.
They finger glue.
They put it inside their shirt.
So because they just would be in the street. They won't. If you do that, sometimes they do. Sometimes they're not. They don't really care. But they're super hide it. Yeah. So sometimes they want to hide it. They put it under shirt so they can sniff. So you can tell by the way they look, the way they move, that he's high. So some kids, like for some kids, we have a great interaction today. We had I feel like I connected with them, stuff like that. The next day, I go to the same place, said hi, hey, what's up? And they don't know me because they're super high. So some of the guys are like that. Some of the guys know me still, but it's and then I go to their houses or go to the bottom of the bridge. If we go to I have like this is one of the best experiences I had. I didn't even know that there's like an apartment under the bridge. You go down like a bridge, man. There's like under the bridge like hangars of like houses, small houses.
How do they make it? What do they make it
With wood. It's super nice. Some of them are nice. Some of them.
But they built it themselves.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of them in there. It's like when you go and then they just pay. This is rough though. The river is you can see those big manholes where the
water comes out.
Yeah,
like
it goes
the
to
sewer.
the sewer. Yeah, and it goes to the river and then they swim there. They wash their clothes there. They probably do the washing their rice.
Is that the place? You said the dude in the flood. They jump off into like 3 feet of water.
Yeah, he went because it's flooding and then it's raining. So he called me, hey coach, video me please because I'm gonna jump. These guys took off his shirt like naked, and he went up to the top of the bridge and jumped like probably like 30 feet. This is a little kid, like I don't know, 10 years old. He jumped like super high with 3 feet of water. And I was like, what the heck? And then he did it again. I didn't do no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get hurt.
Dive.
Yeah, because I don't want to get hurt. Because I thought it was joking or something. And then he jumped. I was like, and then they did backflips and stuff.
Oh my God.
Do they live there with like their parents?
No parents.
Oh, so street kids?
Yeah, some with parents, but mostly no parents. Some run away from home. But I think this is I kind of like got depressed a little bit with like working like super close to this to the street kids. Like I even told Sarah, the head of Verlani. So because I was like, I'm not really trained to be like, I don't know how's the term, like, because I kind of
be like a direct care provider.
Yeah. So
I was a social worker.
Yeah. So I was like, getting more and more involved, and then I feel like there's like I see the improvement, and then all of a sudden they will like do something really bad and something, and then I get a little bit depressed. But Sarah she was like super strong in her vision, her vision for those kids, that they could see, she could see like their potential past like what I'm seeing. So it's like I'm kind of working on that still. Like every time I see a kid, I kind of like I don't really see that he's gonna make it. That's sometimes I do that. Sometimes I kind of I only see him as this far. But they like John also the same thing. He sees like way past. So that's my problem I'm working on. Try to get better at like seeing their end goal for
like the potential past the short term.
Yeah, the short term. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, I mean, our friend Sarah, that's who she is, and who she's all about, and you know, it's part of her belief system, and just again her calling. You know, for me could say that oh, I can see this, but I don't work directly with these guys every day, you know. Maybe I've been working with young people a little longer, but it's still not these specific situations. So I can't say like I wouldn't feel the same way or whatever it is. Maybe in theory I see like, man, I just feel like, hey, we gotta believe.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna do this, we have to believe that we're all the same. You know, that's what I kept telling these kids here. But at the same time, I don't have the level of interaction because I don't have that cultural connection. So that's not really a place for me. But where Jojo has that and is good at it, man, he gets to really see the lows. And then the highs and the lows. It's like, I mean, I can imagine that, like, imagine like what we did this weekend, right? Or this week, right? Where we had this, we talk about a great time we were with these kids at the RRCY, right? And how we felt and all these things. And what if we go there tomorrow and like, it was like nothing and they forgot all about it, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I might be devastated. Not maybe to myself, maybe a little bit, but I would be like, whoa, I thought, man, I had this hope for this guy, and you know, so, and that can happen. Like, you know, the stories Jojo tells me, like, you know, that could happen like maybe for a week for you, or a week of downs, and you're like, whoa, you know, what's going on, you know? So, I mean, he says that, but I don't have that same experience. So I can't say that in that same situation that I wouldn't feel the exact same way or whatever, but it's definitely heavy, you know?
Especially when you see them probably on drugs. Like, and seeing them a totally different person with that.
I have this one kid, but he's doing really good now, but in hindsight, with the first time I worked with him and stuff like that, this guy is, I think I was in there probably like 2 weeks or something like that. And then this kid, I just knew him like 3 days or something, for 3 days. So we're having some activity and stuff like that. And then his cousin because what I do is I drive around, I pick him up in a certain area, like this is this corner, I pick him up, bring him in a van.
They know that you're gonna pick them up.
Yeah, because I told them the day before. Sometimes I hang out with them the afternoon before, just talking, and then I'm gonna remind them, hey, I'm gonna come tomorrow because we have, for example, like a tutorial class, or there's gonna be a visitor who's gonna teach painting or something like that. So I remind them every time that there's this, so I'm gonna pick them up this time and stuff. So sometimes they'll be sleeping. I have to wake them up and stuff like that. So I go around, I pick them up, and then I go to another corner, another like spot in the city. So some of these guys are rival gangs. So this is like a tricky situation. This is when I first started. Now they're kind of like, they're super good at doing that. But this is like we're just experimenting with what we're doing at first, because they don't know the structure yet. I don't even know what I'm doing at first. So I pick him up, and then these guys are like in rival. So I gotta watch the rear view mirror, like, man, I hope these guys don't kill each other in the back, because they're already like, sometimes what they do is they rap, but a vindictive, like, I'm gonna kill you or something, like, to each other, and then the other guy would rap, then, I'm not afraid of you. Like, so they do that, and they battle each other. They battle each other with the real, like, vest.
Rhymes and shit.
Yeah, I would stop. Hey, stop it! Don't do that. This is our safe space. Shut up! But sometimes I get mad. Sometimes I'm like, please don't do that. And then we deal with the other guy would sing, and then all right, transfer in the front, and then he would keep rapping. So I picked him up, and so this kid that I was talking about, his cousin got mugged the night before. I mean, got beat up the night before with a rival gang. So they were in there in the center. I think we had like.
With the cousin also.
Yeah, the cousin was in there, but he was not there yet. He was late. So they were already like. So we're trying to figure out how to manage them. Some of the kids we put them in the back area, and because we have visitors at that time, I think. and then these guys show up. Try to get them to the center, because we have the guard and the thing, so they get the pat down. So most of the time they get rugby, and then or
take the rugby away.
This guy had a homemade gun,
like a zip gun.
Yeah, he's trying to kill the other kid who like jump his cousin and stuff like that. But
did he take it away, or did he give it back to him?
No, the guard. The guard took it away, and then he won't give it. So I was like, come on, because I know him like 3 days ago. But he was like, I don't have the relationship yet with him.
Yeah.
I just know him. So I just grabbed the gun and said, hey, you can't do that. So, and then he was like huffing and puffing outside. So he went back. So he was banned for like, I don't know how many weeks. So he can't go to the center. But Sarah and the others, the other staff were like really big on him, because he's one of the kids who finished high school. So he's like a smart kid, but he's just a troubled guy, like a hothead. So, but he's not like a...
But he was the one who brought
the gun, right? So Sarah forgave him. All right, just go back. Don't do that again.
And you didn't want to forgive him.
And I was like, just get him out. You know what? But like 6 months later, he was like doing really, really good. He showed because I think he got like really happy because nobody did that to him. Like he did something grave, like brought a gun to the center, but those guys showered him with like love and understanding that, hey, it's all right, you did the thing. But they don't even remind him that he did that. So you know what I mean? They don't
like keep holding it against them.
Yeah. So every time he
remember.
So they never did that. They never mentioned it. So he was like felt good, right? So he did really good for 6 months, and then he was about to get a job. He did that. They bought him like a nice polo shirt, a new pants, pair of shoes. He had a haircut. The next day he's gonna get the job. He did the interview and everything. All he has to do is show up the Monday morning to work. Start the first day of work. Sunday night, he went out with the cousin on the corner. The cousin and some of his gang member friends, like I don't know, like 10 of them, were doing rugby. He was just there because he just wanted to say, hey, I'm here.
I'm going to work tomorrow.
Got picked up.
Oh
went
my
to jail.
God.
Like, that's why.
Crash.
I was like, oh my God.
And just because he was hanging out with them, he wasn't even doing rugby.
And then for that 6 months, we had that connection. Like he like I kind of like him. Like he's good. Like he did, like every time I show him something, he would, or tell him something, he would do it or something like that. So he did that. But now, like after that, he kind of like went low or did really bad a little bit. But now he went back. Yeah. Now he has a job now.
Yeah.
And then he did the whole. Now he's in the center. He's like one of like a kuya in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So after that crash, he fixed it up a bit and then went back.
Yeah, now he's like one of the success stories in there. He's working now. He's like doing, but he didn't really do when he got picked up. He didn't really do anything. He just went there to, but because the police, these guys know them by face or by name. Just, hey, you're in the thing. And then the other kids got shaved their heads. Luckily, he didn't get shaved head. Like,
they could have go to the job if you got it.
Because he has the nice hair. Because he was ready to go. My God.
The haircut. I said haircut. Don't shave my head.
What's a homemade zip?
It's a gun, like a.
So is it a tube? Is it like?
It's a tube with remember those the rubber bands that they used to do like a slingshot? So they do that. They
like the tube rubber, and then they
not the tube rubber, the flat.
Oh yeah.
So they wrap it around a pipe, and then they have the shotgun shell, and then they pull that thing. Sometimes they do it with a trigger. So you pull the back end with the what do you call that? Like
a pellet.
A point. So when you
like a nail.
Yeah, like a nail. So it hits the back of the.
Is it a homemade bullet or a real bullet?
No, shotgun bullet.
Oh, shotgun bullet.
Yeah. So if you hit that shotgun bullet, sometimes
it actually just fires the actual shotgun shell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The one that he had is made for, but it wasn't loaded when I got it. But the one that he had was made for the shotgun shell. Some of the
it's like small bullet.
Yes, some of the guns that they use is like the 22. So they have the small. We call them the pen gun or something because it's like a pen, like a pencil too.
So you pull back like a nail. And then
So they wrap it with what do you call that? The rubber, and then wrap it around the tube. So when you pull it and you release it, it will hit the back of the thing and it will fire. So sometimes they wrap it with what do you call that? Stop. Yeah, and then the trigger.
Tell them the other zip gun story.
Damn, these kids could be engineers, you know?
Yeah, they could. These guys the other zip gun story. When the guy tried to zip gun you.
No, this is different. This is when I was working. This is back then when I was doing.
This is why the kids like
soda. No, the soda.
Yeah, the soda. This is what
when the legend began.
Jojo.
Yeah, this is when I was. I think.
Agima.
Were you teenager?
Alamat.
No, not
20s.
No, I think I was in college or just finished my college. No, just. Oh yeah, you're right. Just before I got to college, because I stopped for a while, and then I just did this job. It's a family business, so we drive around in these slums, right? So this guy, this is when I did the Kali and the stuff. Like I kind of like got into the knife fighting kind of thing, and. If you do that, you attract the thing.
You attracted?
No. I was like I was carrying like 5 cases of soft drinks in a cart, right? So I'm like, and then it was hot. I was wearing shades, and and then all of a sudden, the esquinita, like this. So you can't. It's like a one way. Somebody smacked me in my face. Like I thought it was my friend like joking around, smacked me in my face
from behind.
From behind. So when I look around, I look to see. Like it's this kid that, like in the basketball court, like probably a week earlier.
You kicked this ball?
No, we had an argument as a team, and somebody kicked his ass. Like one of my friends kicked his ass. So he remembered me because
you're a part of the team.
No, I was part of the thing, but I didn't do anything to him. So, he remembered me because he was sitting he was on the way to my house. He was sitting on the side street. He was like fixing his face, which is bleeding. So I kind of sat with him and then, hey, what's wrong with you, man? So next time don't do that. And so I kind of like.
You're trying to like help him.
Yeah, next time don't do that. There's a lot of those guys, and you're alone and stuff. And then he was like fixing his face, and then he was looking at me. I'm gonna get back at you guys. And I was, no, man, I'm not. But he kind of remembered me by face, probably like by association or something like that. And then he hit me in the face like I was delivered. This is in a rough neighborhood, so he kind of like he was. they say he is the troublemaker of that little neighborhood, like a little side street. His name is Nonoy Ahos. Like the garlic, Nonoy garlic. I got hit when I turned around, and then this guy was already like, he has like, remember those Indian pana? You don't know, that's the Filipino like
a dart.
Like a dart. So it's the same stick with a rubber band, but at the end they have like a sharp nail that they like
with a hook, right?
Yeah, like a hook.
So if it goes in, you can't rip it out.
You let go of it, and then it's like an arrow, but it's like a handheld. They show you do.
And it's through a tube?
No, it's like the rubber. Then this is the nail. They flatten it. They flatten the end of the nail to a point with a little hook, like a fish hook. So they hook it on the end of the rubber with like a little hook.
So it's like pointed, like this.
So when you pull it, when you release, it will hit you, and then you can't really take the thing out. Yeah, because it has like little hooks. So it's like a 6-inch nail, and then that's what they use, and then they have like feathers at the back. So this is
go straight.
Because this is in a side street where it's like I can't even turn because it's just, and he would try to, I don't know if he really meant to kill me or just to scare me, but I was like pissed because he hit me, and then when I turned around, it was him. I was like, I didn't do anything to him, and then he tried to do this. I grabbed one of the bottles and I ran towards him, and he tried to shoot me. I grabbed that thing because we're so close to each other. He can't really, if he's far away, he probably could kill me. Yeah. But we were so close, and I hit him. I smashed his face with it.
Oh my god!
and that's when the people like in the neighborhood know me and kind of like that. So every time I go there, nobody would bother me.
Oh my god!
And then if I go to the other side of the thing, the same thing, because they know. And then I have a lot of those. Like when I was got into like a lot of fights when I was younger. And then that's part of the thing, because I was going to these neighborhoods, right? So they kind of like, some wants to just like test me out, maybe rob me or something. I don't know what they're trying to do, but most of the time I would be in those situations, and probably that's when I kind of like knew some of the guys in those like neighborhoods. But those are crazy times, man.
Now you're on the other side,
yes,
trying to like connect with those youth who be going through that.
Yeah, because then, I was when we went to RRCY, right? I almost like cried when we did like the little. You were in the music room, but we're in the.
Oh, today.
Yeah, today. So they were saying like that they were so happy that we were there, and like. They can't believe that there are people like us that really took time to be there, like took time to listen to them, that really cared for them, like that some of their parents don't even feel that with their parents or something like that. Like it's a big deal to them that like, hey, these guys really care, because one, we went there, and plus we had those connections. Like one of the kids was saying, like, I remember before in SDC, every time you go there, teach us something, I don't even listen that much. Yeah, I was like, maybe it's just like they're not really into it. But now he like kind of, man, like I wish I like paid attention, or I mean I wish I did a better job. Like these guys are just, because they have those guards up before. Yeah. Now like they were like so happy that they were excited even just to hear, oh, they're gonna come like this month or something like that. But the other kid was saying like, yeah, they thought that it's just he regretted that he didn't like really like give take us
value it.
Value it.
Yeah.
It must be a trip more so for the two of y'all as fathers, too. Like, and y'all kids are around like 12, and you have
12,
one that's 12. Yours is like around
almost
that age. To the oldest one too. And then like younger is also.
Oh, he is
then,
12. What am I talking about?
All right, father.
Yeah, Father of the Year. So yeah, it's a trip, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we do like the BC Poppas thing, because like that's one of our like, it's not only thing we are, but that's a role that we love. We love being dads, you know.
What was BC? Bone Crusher.
BC.
No?
One time Jared was like, "What's BC?" Oh, it's Bacolod City. It sounds cool. You want to have a shirt, BC? But nah, I mean, you know, BC, Bacolod City.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like my adopted home. You know, and I always felt like I'm always like a homer, a local guy. Like I want to like highlight local guys. I mean, you know, you came out to do jiu-jitsu with us, and like, I mean, we're a humble team, but I also, when we go places, I want people to know that, not, hey, we're the best, but like, hey, there's good jiu-jitsu here. If you come here, we're gonna welcome you, we're gonna hang out, and you're not gonna get none of that drama, and we got good jiu-jitsu too. You know, so like, I always love to highlight local, you know. So that's why we did like BC Poppas, that's why we're BC Marshall. We did BC Poppas because we're BC Marshall, but we did BC Marshall because to rep Bacolod, you know. So, but we don't tell people it's Bacolod City Marshall, it's just BC Marshall, you know. BC
When did y'all start the gym?
The gym?
2015?
Yeah.
2015. Yeah,
So y'all
we
got
were
4 years already.
That's another story.
Yeah.
What's the story?
Yeah.
Story.
I mean, go ahead.
So we did jiu-jitsu before, like we said, we met through jiu-jitsu. Like,
Yeah, y'all met like what, 2004? 2009.
Nine.
Oh,
Eight.
nine. Oh, okay, 2008.
So this is when we first started doing jiu-jitsu, and then we did it for like I don't know how many years, and then no belts, no nothing. There's no like.
Was this just at people's homes?
No, we did. We had a
You
gym.
started
at
people's
gym.
homes,
I
right?
started in my friend's home, but we had like a huge gym, like close to 20,
People,
20
basically,
people,
we would rent a space,
Yeah.
industrial space, throw down puzzle mats.
And then close to 20,
Yeah.
20 guys rolled around, but there's no like real like black belts or like.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there can be
Like
belts.
we had a talented coach, but he was never coached in like the way of like never been to like a structured class. So I mean, basically, like we probably did like, we went through different like phases of like, oh, we're gonna do warm-ups and like do hard warm-ups, and that was great. And then we went to like maybe like 2-3 years of just rolling hard. Not even you gotta come up with your own techniques. So
Sometimes with punches.
you know, I mean,
Like MMA guys.
slap him in the face.
MMA guys.
So I mean, my one coach, I remember he would get he had a business and he had like a worker like, and it would be like slow day to get the work. He's like, John, let's go train. He'd give the worker gloves. He'd be like, go ahead, hey, try to punch him, man. Try to punch him, right? And I'm like, not me punch him, like he's gonna try to punch me. Punch me as like go punch John as many times as you can. All right, shoot, man, I gotta take him down and bring him to the ground. And then of course he didn't train jiu-jitsu, so I take a couple of hits and then we'll get on the ground like, all right, now what are you gonna do, But that was it, but we fell in love with it, and then
You started doing you got your blue belt from...
Yeah, I got my blue belt from a Brazilian guy about probably 6 years in. Jojo probably 7 years in at that time.
And then I stopped for a while.
He got busy expanding the business, and so he was, just train every now and then. But I continued to train, and I met a Brazilian dude who came out. He was a black belt brother of another purple belt there. Who was living in Bacolod, a Brazilian guy, and just trained, and he was like, it's kind of weird, weird story, but yeah, I mean, he was like, you're hey, why or how long you been training? I'm like, oh, like 6 years. He's like, hey, you're not why are you a white belt? Like, you're not a white belt. And I was like, well, I've never even seen a promotion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't think about belts and whatever it was, and so. I had been training still in Daly City when I would go back there, but we didn't really have at that time I had trained at different gyms in Manila and things like that, but you know, we weren't training anywhere consistently with a black belt who could promote you, so it wasn't even in our thing. He gave me a blue belt before he left, you know, and the only thing that I thought, I remember like one time I was training at FTCC, and I was training with George, our friend George.
Shout out,
right?
George.
George.
The teacher.
The teacher, you know. Teach you a lot of different things. But he said something that I thought was pretty profound. Like he was like, you know, hey, you know, you're doing really good. You're probably real close to being a blue belt. He said, but you just don't think about that. He goes, don't think about someone else giving you a blue belt or promoting you. He said, think about what you think it means to be a blue belt. And no matter whether someone gives it to you or not, just pursue your idea of that, you know. And so that's what he did, you know. We did with our training, and you know, at that time, it's a time when there was only a few of us training, you know. But I got the blue belt, and I also started training with our black belt now, Don, and our other coach, Chester. And then, you know, just when we were doing that, I wanted, my kids got to be the same age, the age where they could start training. But there's nobody teaching jiu-jitsu to kids. I mean, there was no, you know, just a bunch of dudes like trying to beat each other up, you know? So one of our friends who's a big supporter of us, he was started training, and he had kids too, and he's like, well, I'll bring my kids, and you can bring your kids, and then like you can teach them. Actually, I was still a white belt at that time, and I would just, you know, go to the side and I would train them. Then when it turned into a real class. Like it turned into a real class of like a separate kids class. And it did that for maybe a little bit more than a year. And then, you know, I don't tell the whole story, but we decided, I asked Jojo to help me because the class was growing. And like he had been away from jiu-jitsu, but like it was kind of a good thing like for him to come back, you know?
And then that's when I started training under Don. That's when I came back. And that's when I quickly got my blue belt, like, I don't know, like not even 6 months back.
So by that
So you came back because of teaching the kids?
Yeah, because he wanted help, and then I was like, oh, I don't really kind of forgot some of the things. So I went and trained under Don, which is my friend that helped me, like, one of my friends like really wanted me to train under Don, and then like we did the thing, and then that's when he told me, hey, maybe you could help me.
Yeah.
And then that's when we started. Like we did
it's probably 2014.
Yeah.
You know, we did start it, and the class really grew. We did some summer programs, and then like different people in our lives were just encouraging us to like, you know, start our own gym.
Because we were renting, no? Right?
Yeah, or we were doing we were share, like, you know, if you're in a gym, some money goes to the gym, some goes to the teachers, right? And there's like a split, right? It's a split. But our class grew to a point where it doesn't make sense because the split is enough for us to pay rent. And if you rent a place, you have it for 24/7. Where like here, the split, we're there for an hour, and you get in a month's rent. You know, so it was no hard feelings from us, but it was just like it don't make financial sense. You know, so we, you know, of course, you gotta invest, put like money to get mats and all the stuff. Right?
Remember the story of how we got the mats?
So
oh my god, we went to this is all
it's like MMA fight.
Fell into place because we went to some local MMA fights in a bar. Like one of our friends were fighting, so we're in the bar. Like
they asked us to do a demo, like for the kids.
Yeah, so they have a fight, and then we had to do the demo, like in the like an intermission, for example, like thing
for kids like that.
Yeah, so we had judo and stuff, and then one of my classmate in high school was there in watching the event, and then after the thing we're sitting around. We was talking and stuff. Hey, why would you do like a summer program? And he works in SM. Like, why would you do a summer program? I will give you like a setup, like What do you need? Oh, we need mats. No, I can provide. I'll buy mats for you guys. Just did the thing and do the summer program. And they paid us money to be in the.
Oh yeah, we walked. So we didn't know. Like
he didn't know.
He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing marketing there," and he was like the director.
Yeah, the head guy. I don't even know.
We walked in some little side door in SM. You walk in this big office thing.
Conference.
Bring us to this conference, and we're like, "Oh man!" And like he starts telling us like, "What can you do?" And then, "Okay, this is what we can do for you." And it was like, "Well, they're gonna buy the mats, and then they're gonna pay us, and then." They can let us charge whatever we want to the kids who come, and we can sell whatever we want to. And like I'm just asking little questions, and we're like, okay, all right, yeah, I think we can do that. As soon as we like walked out there, did he say what I thought he said?
Walked out to the office area.
How much? You know, we're like, oh my gosh, right?
Just high-fiving each
So
other.
like, it kind of all fell into place.
That's where it started.
One of my friends from another thing. She had a space for us, you know, that little space where you're at.
It's where you're at right now?
Right now. And so, yeah, I mean, that all worked out. And then we just, you know, it was cool because just from being dads and like being able to bring our kids and then kind of giving that same like family atmosphere to other kids and then their parents. So we started like a mom's class because, you know, moms are watching their kids like, man, I want to do it. I think I can do that. And then the moms, you're going to do it? I'll do it. So we started a mom's class.
Dad's class.
And then a dad's class. Like
you still have a mom's class right now?
Not anymore because a lot of them, one had a baby. Like we had it just kind of.
6 of them, yeah.
Yeah, there was like 6 of them. And then
four migrated.
The girls from our team, they would come and train too if they had a free morning, you know. So it was real good for like probably like a year and a half. But then some went back to the U.S., some back to Costa Rica, one back to Costa Rica, and then another had a baby, and like so just like different things. But what that was is that was our first support, and they would tell people, they would, you know, give us business, and then the dads like. They became our friends.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, like some of the guys you met already and trained with, now they're like blue belts and purple belts, you know, and they just start out because they saw their kids and they're like, yeah, can I try this too? Yeah, you can try it. So
their kids started first.
Yeah, their kids started first. Now they're, you know.
Now it's our little community, like a group of friends.
That's kind of, and so like if you watch like, if you check out some of the podcasts, like you'll see one of our friends, Doug, like, you know, our thing with him is we always watch like 80s movies that we grew up on and then we talk about it, you know, but like it's just that kind of, we got a little dad group and we go through the same things with, you know, family, marriage, you know, things like that. And just another thing, just being here in Bacolod City, you know, like adjusting to that because some of them are, you know, from different places and stuff too. So yeah, I mean, we're in this gym now, since 2015, you know, doing really well. You know, we never imagined, like it was a big joke to us when like we get paid by people. Even from the very beginning, we're like,
then we get money, like, oh shoot, we get paid for doing jiu-jitsu?
Are you serious, right? Did we just play with their kids for like an hour and they gave us money
we're just
for
running
it?
around.
You know? Hyped up, you know, and I mean, but we've also seen kids walk in who have been like bullied or afraid, and they turn into like just these encouraging kids who encourage new kids. They're confident. They're, you know, confident going with bigger kids, you know, and believing in the techniques of jiu-jitsu. It's like when you got an escape, like they ain't worried about some guy getting on because like I know I can escape. I know if you give me an inch, I can escape. And just seeing that in their eyes, you know, that's just so much fun. And so, you know, that from all these different kind of platforms, it always has remained that we are for these young people and seeing them like fulfill their potential. You know, with the gym, it's like as parents, we know how hard it is to like raise your kids in a lot of different voices outside of your home. And so as parents, you look for programs or people, teachers that you can have your kids around who share similar values, so that now, like if you're a parent, you might have the loudest voice, but then there's like 20 little voices that are competing with your loud voice. But if I get another coach next to me who's got the same values and he's got a voice, my kids with him 4 days a week too. And so you add up to those, those other things around it. And it's funny because I talk to Jojo's mom, she's talking to me in Ilongo and stuff, but when we come back from SDC, like her thing is like, these guys probably don't have family and parents who really see things see what's happening or and it's true for the majority of them, they'll tell you their story, but so that's kind of like what we feel like we're doing with jiu-jitsu too, is like you're creating more community around these kids with putting the same values of like challenging your fears, not being afraid to fail, trying to get better, a little bit better every day. And these are the things parents want to teach their kids, but they can't do it alone, So if your kid stays with us for an hour a day, hopefully we're giving them the same thing you're teaching them at home. So that's kind of the whole thing, that's the BC Poppas, that's what it is, or it doesn't matter what it is, I don't know.
Damn, that's a different perspective that I don't think I would have developed without hearing from fathers or from parents, right? You don't think about that kind of perspective when you don't have a kid, right? Like almost a multiplier effect of who you allow your kid to be surrounded by, right? And like what principles gets like relayed, transferred on. That does really have a big effect, right? Like just me personally, I feel a big difference when I'm around jiu-jitsu folks, when I'm around different spaces, and then so much more kids who are impressionable or looking for guidance and still developing and growing, right? So that actually kind of reminds me of what y'all are trying to do for the folks coming out of our RYC, right? Like now that y'all have visited, I know like the talk now has been, what can you do for folks who are going to come out of this program, but now they're quote unquote released, free, but then that's not the end of the road, right?
The aftercare.
Aftercare improvement is necessary.
Well, that's all up to Jojo now. It's all on his shoulders.
I'm not afraid, man.
Yeah, see?
Face the fear, right? Principle, into L.
Hey, you gotta, what do you call it? Be an example, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just like when we first went to the SDC, what we carry is some of the experiences from the Nothing to Lose Foundation of the programs we currently have, like with scholarships, with the leadership programs, with working with kids in the community through sports and education, right? But this is like, obviously this is a different and new thing, but we're carrying those experiences. We're carrying those experiences from jiu-jitsu, so we understand that these things that we want to help support these kids, these ideas that we have, just like starting out from white belt, just from starting out, from zero with the foundation, it's something that is going to take time. But those other things, we started those things without having anything. Now we have these other kind of successes that we can build on, principles that we've kind of seen the thread of through those other different platforms that we've done. So we're encouraged about it, but we know it's another thing. Like what we do with N2L is we try to find like, what's your black belt? What thing are you, like you got a black belt on this, I got a black belt on this, or like what's your game? You got guard game, you got top game, you got pressure, he got, whatever it is. I mean, obviously you want it all, like as a jiu-jitsu player, but there's things that you're just naturally good at or naturally can see better than others, And so like talking to these social workers. We're like, yeah, I'm not a social worker. You're not a social worker, you know. Like so we will have to find and continue to build relationships with people who we see that we have a need for, and then at the same time learning about those areas ourselves until those people arise or present themselves.
Already even.
Yeah, or already even, you know. But the promise that we've made to these guys is that we want to support them, you know. So what we do know how to do with N2L is like scholarships for education. So that's an option for them. And so we've talked to them, a lot of them said they do want to go back to school. So our last talk with them before we left today was, so how can we prepare for that while you're here? How can we move forward? And like, they already have programs that they're trying to help them with. So one would be plugging into that. Other things are like giving them small goals, how to self-motivate and see, and checking in with them, you know? But whatever the case is, whatever level of preparedness they have when they leave, it doesn't matter to us. We're still going to be there to try to help them, you know, move forward and try to work with the system that they've also been told that they have to go through when they leave. You know, there's I don't know if it's called probation. I really don't know what it's called, but there's like a 6-month period.
In contact with a social worker, a local social worker.
Yeah, the local government unit has a social worker that, you know, they need to be in contact with, and then after those 6 months, you know. But for us, if it was things directly related to us, of course, those things are going to be related to the things we're really passionate about. So it'll probably be like either working in Jiu Jitsu, being in the gym, or working in Verlani, or like, I mean, not work, but like serving.
Yeah, sure.
You know, that's the thing of N2L. It's service. Service is the key. I mean, service is, and how you serve, for us, our thought process is always, you're going to serve through your passion. Because even when you don't have the language, even if you don't have the complete understanding,
or even the credentials.
People feel the passion. Like it's a way to like, sometimes we don't even know how to be authentic sometimes, but when you're just passionate, like it's hard to stop. That's like the one way you can be authentic. Like they can tell like you really love it. Yeah. You know, that you don't want nothing from them. You just love it. You would love to share the thing that you love, you know. So for us, those things that we're passionate about, like business, you know, entrepreneurship, enterprise, to you know, martial arts, to, you know, through community service. And so we will try to probably build some things around that. You know, we've talked about, you know, different programs for making jiu-jitsu more available to kids who maybe their parents don't have, you know, couldn't fully pay for a tuition to go to school, you know, or to the gym, you know. And I mean, for me, I mean, we don't know yet. So if any of these guys are interested in being around us, that would be one of the avenues to do that, is to teach them to serve, teach them, you know, things like that. And one of them was really interested in learning basketball, how to coach basketball, how to understand it better, you know. And so, yeah, man, we're definitely willing to do that and plan on doing that. I mean, the great thing about having the ongoing program in Romblon is we can bring people there. And you can see things are up and running, much like we brought our scholars to the place to let them see and interact with them. Man, like, you know, like with Jojo, like the first time he went to N2L, I was just like, I don't have to tell you, I just, here, look, this is what we do. And you see all these things going on, you see how they act, and like, you can tell, do you want to be, you like that? Does that coincide with what your heart is for your community? And so, because we have those ongoing programs, we can do that with these guys too. It's like, come on, come with us, see, you know, be inspired or be challenged, you know. So I think a lot of our what we would try to do with aftercare would revolve around our passions, but also revolve around introducing them to other people who are passionate people, you know, who are doers. you know, and things like that. So I don't know, you know, but I'm excited about it, man. You know, Joe just found, I don't know, you actually had a long time talking with one of the people there about the aftercare.
So yeah, but I'm big on the telling them that their time over there in RRCUI is just temporary, but at the same time, that's the time you prepare. Like this is the time if you find that the passion that you really like have in your heart, this is the time, this is where you prepare. So if you want to learn how to coach basketball, or if you want to understand more about basketball, this is where you prepare. It's not just when you go out, that's when you start. So I was keep telling them that this is in everything, the habit of practice, the habit of like trying, failing, and then doing again, keep trying to improve yourself. That's how you prepare, and that's how you like be ready when you get out. To be ready to receive like whatever help you need. Because if we're willing to help and you're not ready, so it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So like the kids are at first don't know what to, like, they don't know how to find that passion. Because I told them, hey, it's not me that's gonna tell you, hey, do this, go to school and stuff like that. It's not me, it's about you. You have to find that passion, and then we're just here. If you're ready, and we're here, we're always ready to help you or support you or like guide you to reach your goal.
Yeah. So like one of the things we left the Bacolod guys with is a little challenge of like, you know, write down like 2 things that you want to experience when you get out of here. And meaning like, it could be anything, but along the lines of like one guy's was, I want to go to school for criminology. Okay. Another was, and the second one was, you know, I want to learn basketball. I want to be known as a good player, and I want to know how to share it with other people. So it's like, okay, now, so that's his 2, right? I told him, you know, hey, we want you to think about these, read them every day, even just saying it to yourself. But now I'm going to give you a couple things to, like, Jojo's going to come back here in 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? And he's going to ask you, like, hey, did you think about those 2 things every day? You know? And I give him 2 just simple things. Like, you know, we're not, since we're not going to walk them through everything, you know, it's like, I'm just going to give you a couple ideas. Okay, here I gave him, basketball-wise, I said, these are these spots on the court. I want you to do 20 makes a day at each of these spots, 160 makes. Okay, all the spots, 8 spots. Not shots, makes. Okay, so however long it takes you, it's 20 in each spot, you know. You do that every day, or 5 days a week, you can get better. You can figure some stuff out. But I'm not more concerned, not technique, is just, I mean, I didn't say this specifically to him, but just the discipline, doing it. When you don't feel good, when you feel good, doesn't matter, you know. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do it, just get it done. If you have to do half in the morning, half when you know, whatever, do it, you know. The other was, hey, talk to the administrator. What does it take to get into college?
Find out everything about it.
So what does it take to get into college? You know, not even criminology. Do you have to finish your alls? Do you have to have, if you have alls, is there any other requirements for you to apply? I mean, you need a birth certificate. I mean, like, there's some stories here that kids that we've worked with before, like, they don't even know, because of where they were born, they don't even have a birth certificate. They don't even know really how old they are. So you can only go so far in school without a birth certificate. You surely can't go to college without a birth certificate or to prove your age, prove who you are. I mean, there's kids out there literally without identity, you know, because of that. But, so these are things like just simple basics, you know. I'm not asking you to fill out a form. Now, same time, I don't think this is easy for you. While it's a simple thing, man, I'm sure they're gonna struggle. I'm gonna struggle to shoot 20 makes every day in every spot every day. You're gonna have to really want to do it to find time. But our goal is to have given them something concrete to do, and then also, I'm not worried about if you fail. But we have to try something to see, like, hey, I told them yesterday, I said, I can guarantee, who likes to lose? And then I say this all the time at every camp, who likes to lose? Of course, no one wants to lose. Okay, good, I'll give you the secret right now. You never lose ever again. You want to never lose ever again? Hey, I never want to lose ever again. Don't play. Don't play. You'll never lose again if you never play, but you're never gonna win either. We can't, we have to put ourselves out there. So, the goal, I try to give them simple goals, but where it's really gonna be at is the follow up, where Jojo comes back and goes, how'd it go?
Yeah, because I think, because if that's really your passion, it doesn't matter how hard it is. It doesn't matter how many times you fail, because that's what you really want. You're just gonna try and do it no matter what. I won't even, if I tell you not to do it, you'll still do it, because that's really what you want. But if you're telling me that you want that, but just to say it, that now you know, or we would know, like, if it's that really what you want.
The other thing that we tried to impress on them was that, see, I won't give you this kind of, I won't give you a challenge if I don't think you can do it, but also if I don't think you're supported to do it. Yeah. What we saw at that place, they have the support. And those parents, the house parents, they were there listening to us give those challenges. So I would feel bad if I try to give you some challenge, come back and be a blue belt. And when I get back here and you don't even have a trainer to teach you, that would be ridiculous, But one, we thought we made it simple enough. We could be wrong, but I know for sure that those people there, based on our talks with them and what we saw them doing, like, for instance, you did the music. That guy B-Boy's gonna be on him with the music. See, that's what I mean. So we tried to explain that to them too.
He's passionate about doing it.
They were those. They were thanking us, right? And I really wanted to make a point that, like, you got people like us here right now. You feel like, hey, we really care for you. These guys really care. I mean, I seen the look in those house parents' faces, and then in the conversations we had. So that's where I feel like I don't feel bad in issuing a challenge or whatever it is, because I know that they've already created a structure there for these guys that they can plug into if they want it. So like I'm sure if you told them, hey, write some more raps and create this music, they can do it, and they have people who will help them do it. So that's why I'm really happy they're in that place. I'm happy we came, and so we're already making plans to, when Jojo can get back there or Buddy can get back there and follow up and see how they're doing with these things. We also figured out like what their call schedule is and things like that, like when they can be called.
So communication,
things like that. So, I mean, I was thinking about this in the tricycle. I was like, on our way we're stranded here, by the way, right now.
Stranded in Guimaras.
On our tricycle to figuring out that we were stranded.
Serious.
Getting drenched. Yeah. But I was thinking, even if we wrote like emails to the people, to the admin, and be like, hey, can you just tell this message to all the guys from us? Like, read it to them and whatever it is. Like, just that, like, we haven't forgot you, I was showing those kids, like, my phone and the pictures, like, old pictures of them. I'm like, see, you're in my phone, man. Like, we haven't forgotten you, So that's what I'm hoping that we're gonna challenge each other to build on that and continue that. And I mean, I don't think it's, not to say it's not gonna be difficult, but Jojo's also at SDC every week. So these guys are, it's in front of you. It's not like you do it once a year and you forget about it and you remember it again. So I'm hopeful, we're upbeat and optimistic about this, where we can go with, helping them out after they leave, so.
You're going back 3 months, November?
Hopefully. So we gotta do. I gotta learn how to do the official way, like sending letters, like officially.
So they allow us to go.
Yeah, to go there because it's not just we can just show up and stuff like that. So officially and stuff like that, try to learn as much. And then I gotta talk to Mom Loisa, who is the OIC there. So we had a long talk, and then she kind of like in that like short talk, I kind of knew what she's all about, and I think she knew what we're all about also. So at first she was like a little bit hesitant, and then the more we talked, the more she kind of knew where I'm coming from, and she feels like this is a good fit for us to work together. Like maybe we can complement what they're already doing. So like she was so happy and like very optimistic of what we can do next for the kids, especially when they're the aftercare program. So
real recognize real, man.
Real recognize real.
Like
real recognize real.
It's so funny because he's not usually in there with like these guys.
I
kept popping in like, damn, they're a long time talking to these guys, you know?
No, because hey, I gotta do the but
courtesy call.
Yeah.
Culturally.
How about those raps, man? Oh my God.
The raps were
awesome,
dope,
man.
bro. The raps were dope. Like I feel I was like a opportunity for them to show what they already have.
Yes.
I didn't even teach that much. I didn't even like go over like bro, I was going over the first day. Okay, so the bar is this, and then I feel so dumb
When
doing
they
that.
come out
Like
the next
they
day.
know all that already. Like just because of their raps. Like they've got so many raps written already. So many stories in there.
Some of them is Ilongo, by the way, but which is super like deep with like the story that we can really feel what they're like trying to say. But also like Tagalog, they have a lot of Tagalog songs
Even
which
the
you can
Tagalog,
understand.
yeah.
So wow.
And like the deep experience they have about like that one kid about saying wishing things are gone, including the one who shot his parent. I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah, there's some,
like,
some dark stuff.
There's some dark things there, but it's an opportunity for them to express it. And that's really their avenue of expression. For me, it's beautiful to see. For me, it's very humbling also because there's this avenue of expression that has been demonized in a lot of like contemporary spaces, especially in the middle and upper middle class here in the Philippines. Of like rap, it's for gangsters. Like
or even Tagalog rap.
Or Tagalog rap. Like it's just been so demonized in the older generation. Like that's only for gangsters. I remember growing up like that being told, and then now seeing it as a tool for actual therapy for these kids to let things out. And then they were so excited to like they were ready with their song today.
A logbook
full of raps, but even today 4 of them total. One was on a chorus. Each one had a verse. 3 minutes 40 seconds. Like perfect already. Like practiced and everything. That's better than some of the rappers that come in to record sometimes. Even me sometimes I'm not that ready with some of my stuff, and like I have to practice and all that. And it shows that they've put so much effort already into this, and they just need that technical support to put things out, right? To record.
It just really blesses me to see that and to experience that, and that just because I just believe so much that, you know, a lot of times our parents or people who love us, you know, they want us to be safe, they want us to make a living, they want us to, you know, and so like sometimes we're discouraged from spending too much time on things that people don't see are like gonna make you a living or something like that, you know, where it's, our view is like, if you know how to passionately pursue something, whatever it is, you're gonna be able to transfer that to the thing that you're really meant for, whatever it is. And like the culture of practice, the culture of preparation, and Dude, I just want to thank you, man, for coming out.
Yeah.
You know, like, it just, you know, from SDC to seeing you do your thing there and then coming out here and the enthusiasm that you showed, like this is what I mean about passion. Like, you didn't make that up. You listening to them. And I might see you, you know, like, you know, you're not even watching the videos.
Dude, I'm so hyped when I listen to them. When I hear I don't even understand some of it because it's in Ilonggo and Gainon, but I feel it, and I'm so hyped just like for them. It's a dope feeling.
And then they can see it.
They see your response to, and I mean that's you know. That's what we're here for, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me out. Thanks for like paying for everything too. Damn, bro.
Paying for you get stranded.
I know. We got stranded out here.
Just
for the story, right? We were supposed to go back today. Mainly at the port.
We're on the port.
We hear 2 boats flip over. Some sad shit of like people passed, lost their lives.
And then there's if we got gone like
an hour early.
Like if we finished on time or whatever, or like we're just. I mean, it's hard to like say this happened because of this and that, because I don't want to say that as people like have lost their lives, but you know, we stayed because we weren't done. We didn't just leave. 10:30, time to leave. You know, got to do your thing. And it's like we were there for those guys, and you know, fortunately for us, you know, even though we got all wet on the tricycle and that was a crazy ride. Even though we was praying on them, I was praying and don't skid out, man. Those downhills, you know. But.
Bro, you know what saved us? Is our tricycle driver having to pee.
Yeah, that's right. And I had to stop with the cherry Pepsi.
Yeah, the Pepsi, the gas. Have to stop again to cover the gas.
If we were stranded, we didn't even gonna do this podcast because we're gonna be. We're supposed to do it yesterday. We're so tired. See, everything just.
But I mean, dude, this is. It's been a good, really good last several days. It's been cool having you out of Bacolod and training, you know, and all that.
In a gi?
In a gi.
Got you in a gi
Fuck
in the
gis
heat.
in the Philippines, bro.
And your
Man, my finger gets fucked up. I was in the water the other day, fucking swimming with my hand out of the water because it stings every time it goes into salt water from the gi burns. Holding on to this because I haven't had gi jiu-jitsu in like months.
So funny.
Those
it just happened
spider cards stuff.
Spider guard that I never used. I was trying it actually during when we were rolling.
I'm never gonna use this. Don't worry about it.
No, it's a blessing, man. And even I just love doing jiu-jitsu. Being able to do it in Bacolod too, new folks. It is almost like a different world when I get to do jiu-jitsu in a new place. But it's a different world, but familiar. That's what's a trip for me. Because people are on similar vibes like that, and then you understand a certain like ethic code of things going on, and then people have similar I wouldn't say personalities, but like way of living that you're friendly. Like even Alton, you bring me around the city, just like cafe spots up in the mountain, chilling. We talk about future plans for jiu-jitsu camp, like things like that. Just ideas, and then it's a similar vibe when I visit other jiu-jitsu gyms, like friendly and hey, what's up? What you doing out here and all. And that's how we met, right?
How we met.
That's how y'all continued getting your blue belt, purple, brown, right? It is a trip, and that's why I do want to see more jiu-jitsu in the Philippines, especially for like working class.
Absolutely.
Because right now, in my analysis, it's a lot of upper class, richer folks who can afford it and all that.
With the gi and stuff. So
I mean, I think also there's also probably with the exposure, lack of exposure, like it's also like why would I pay for that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I spend to go to a workout gym or whatever? You know, people that also could do jiu-jitsu or put their kids in jiu-jitsu, you know, it would be not a struggle, but like, you know, it would be have to be an intentional thing, not a sacrifice, but you know, it costs. Yeah. But if you don't think there's value in it, you're gonna spend it on something else, or you know. So I think that's what we want to do too. Is like find a way to like, yeah, like you said, have access to more people, whether that's programs, whether that's education and showing people about what jiu-jitsu is, you know, because like it's done. I remember telling this to like George one time too, you know. Shout out to George again. But like I felt telling like how I feel bad that like I feel like I'm not very good at jiu-jitsu, but I love it so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? Cause I feel like you talk about like, Tim, you must be really good. You love it. I'm not that good, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, you must be a champion. No, not really a champion. But I just love it so much. You know, you talk about it, right? Yeah. And then, but we do want to share it with people, you know, because of this. Because we always tell our friends who end up going overseas, dude, go find a gym. Yeah. It might not be the first gym where you stay, but go find a gym because it's like our people, right? You'll find community. Them. And like, they're not gonna, and nobody's gonna worried about how your language is when you choke on them. Or you know what I mean? You're like, damn, he's good. You know, you know, or like the respect of like, you give your all. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter what you look like. You're like, dude, that guy's for real. You know, like he's whatever. You sweat with them. You know, you get personal with them. So I think like that's why what we love about it too is if other people can do that, then you can show up anywhere and have a good possibility of making relationships, friends, people that will show you around. That's what it was for me. I didn't know nothing about Bacolod, and like, man, every day I was like, oh, I gotta go to jiu-jitsu, and then these guys would hang out afterwards. That Shell, that's where you drink Shell. You know,
Gatorade.
The gas station. Yeah.
Dudes the convenience store.
We're drinking Gatorades. Dudes are like got their fancy cars with the loud stereos open. They're drinking Red Horse and Shell. I'm like, Shell's where you the hangout.
We're just close to the gym. You just get water or Gatorade or something.
But yeah, if you, or honestly, anything you're passionate about. Yeah. You know, you're passionate about photography. You go to a new place, go find out where the photographer's at. Like, join a group, something, you know. People recognize that passion, and, you know, that's your avenue to start building relationships, you know. So if we can share that, if we can, you know, invite more people to come, you know, do jiu-jitsu, but then show them what else we do, and hey, maybe they, you know, I don't know, man.
Hey, podcasting, he showed us.
Oh, yeah, you inspired us to do podcasting. Podcast. I used to tell him, I was like, hey, my friend from Jiu-Jitsu, check this out. He's got a podcast. Hey, let's try it. You know, I got all these mics for like the ministry school. Like, turn that on, man.
Real.
Always shows like, hey, I can produce that for you. I got a computer. Let's do the thing, you know. But I would always tell him, like, dude, check that out. And look, he interviews all these cool people and stuff.
Yo, full circle, bro.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
Dude, it's a trip. Even this podcast has been a blessing. Like in terms of the people I talk to, the depth I get into conversations, and then also the fact that other people can see how dope the people I talk to are, then it's almost like a multiplier effect that you're talking about, right? Like, get these thoughts into people's heads that I've been exposed to, because sometimes I'm sitting at conversations with people, I'm like, this is a fucking dope conversation. I wish other people can hear it, and that's really one of the impetus for the podcast, right? Let me get those, just like how you're saying, let me surround my kids with other people with similar principles, right? I want to surround other people with these ideas, or expose people to like the creatives I know, or the people that like can dissect the world in a way that kind of is beautiful and is productive and is also principled. Right?
Well, you were talking earlier when we were coming over to Iloilo about like how can we get more people to access that learn about podcasts and stuff. Because, you know, I mean, it's been good for us. I mean, from whether it's entertainment to like, I mean, when you hear, I might listen to something for entertainment, but then one of these guys I like, they'll mention a book they read, or they'll have a guest, and I'll go to their media or whatever platform they have and learn about them. Like, it's easy accessible. It's easy to digest, like, initially, and that can move you on to something else of study, you know, and that's what I think it's happened for us. But I mean, I never thought of it like, hey, this could be another way of like education or exposure for like people who would not normally have. I mean, to be able to sit in a cool seminar or what, I don't know, you know, What are you?
It's because that's what I've gotten out of it. When I listen to like some of the guests on Joe Rogan, right? I'm like, damn, this is a lot of information, right? And then I'm thinking, I have not heard about this before, and then I'm learning new things just by listening. And I feel like a smart bro, right? Bro science, right?
You know how it works?
Right, but it's a certain level of exposure, just the depths of some of these conversations, and how there's some even on opposite ends of the spectrum, right, when it comes to political ideas, right? And it makes me think, and so that's what actually I want to see more, even in the Philippines, right? Who are the other alternative media sources here that have a good perspective that's not in the entrenched media? Because the media here, they're all owned by the same families, right? What are alternative perspectives that can hopefully reach a wider audience, like the masses, that can get them thinking in a different way and to develop, right? Just like how I've benefited from other folks. So what's cool, someone just reached out to me on Twitter, like they have a podcast in Manila that I'll be meeting up with them once I go back there. And they're like millennials, like young folks who do their own podcasts, other Filipinos in Manila. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know about this. And then we just found out about each other, and then hopefully see what they're about and continue that progression. There are people who've been on the podcast I only met because of the online, and then getting to like get in depth with them, and then learning their stories and all that, and then seeing both similarities, differences, and being inspired by that, and then connecting others. Like, that's been like a blessing in and of itself, right? Like, which has been a trip, right?
See, we never even thought about that. I wonder if other people are doing like podcasts in Bacolod.
Probably, I do, because
like, because one of the things we wanted to do with, again, it's really, I love to promote the local. Like, we're trying to do stuff like, because we love coffee, right? It's like, where's your favorite coffee shops? You know, just talk about that stuff.
Bro, I can see it with y'all once you have the coffee shop downstairs. You bring guests there. And then you do your coffee. That's where it's at. Idea, right?
I like that.
Even set up a podcast studio that you can rent out, and then encourage other people to do their own shows, do their own podcasts there.
Hey, we can do that for sure.
That's a good idea.
We can.
Because even in Manila, there are already podcast studios you can rent out.
I never even knew that.
Yeah, and then because they even have some of those in the US, little podcast hubs, right? And then, so everything is there. Even like internet to upload the things to streamline, and it's both like, can be a business, but also education for a wider range of people. Whoever comes in sees podcast studio. What's a podcast?
You can even, because like, you know how it is. Like, even we do this a lot, where you're like, hey, we can help you do it, or like, this is how we start. You can do it on your own. Here's the education. You know, if other podcasters are around, I don't know, just interaction, things like that. I mean, that's a good idea, man.
That's a good idea.
Like, oh man,
we can definitely do that.
Okay. First guest,
coffee studio.
No, that's okay.
Because I love seeing more. That's why even when my friends have ideas, I'm like, yes, here's all the information you need. And then I'll tell them all the equipment, these are super basic, this is what you need, just learn how to mix it like this, and then put it out, because I like listening. I'll just put it on and like, like I'll listen to y'all's, listen to Sean, like him high, and talking about
it's
Facebook posts.
That's true, it's like I don't know, man. I feel you, man. That's really cool, and I like. That's why I asked about that, because I never thought of that before. Like, how can you get this like more popular listening, but also even like creators?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're like, we do it for fun. We do it for us.
Yeah.
You know, if our friends laugh or if our friends think, you know, it's awesome. You know, like, but it's we want to learn more stuff.
Imagine if we could have had a podcast with some of the kids, right? What about some of the kids who come out? Because like, it's also, the thing is, because podcasts are also a platform. Sometimes certain platforms privilege certain voices, right? Even me, right? Being able to do this is because I've had the education to edit this. I have this costs money, right?
Absolutely.
Whose stories gets to be highlighted, right? That's a certain gatekeeping, right? If we could even get some of the stories of the community members who come through, right? Verlani, some of those folks, what are their stories? Because I'm sure there's depth in there and lessons to be had. Also, stories of Filipinos, right? This is the reality of some of these folks, and and if those are disseminated too, like, it can be beautiful, both for them being able to tell their story, but also for others to expand their own understanding, right? And break even conceptions of certain people, where they come from, what they've done in the past, but who are they, right? Why did they do that? And so it's not the monotonous vlogger, right? Boracay now, right? Because there's a certain amount, there's a certain level of, there's an entry level cost, right? To even vlogging and things like that. So that's why I also am very like, I'm always open to who I can talk to, right? To get their story out too. So,
oh man.
BC Coffee Podcast. BC.
That's happening.
I'm telling you, man.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, Bacolod.
Oh man. No, man, that's shoot. Yeah,
Dropping a bomb, man.
Yeah, you give me a bomb right now.
Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, like,
So that was good because we're always the like N2L is always like a platform to show your passion or share your passion because that's the main thing. So if I am passionate about something else, I can use the N2L platform to do that. Now podcasting, we can use that as a platform for the other guys who want to share their stories or want to share their things.
and you're not even like, for instance, you may not always have the time to come out here and like, I mean, just for instance, like, you know, go do this or do this together, but like, hey, we can put on a podcast, find out what's going on with you, sharing the new things, and like, same thing, you know, with other people. Like, there's a lot of stories that we have and that we've been looking for ways to tell, and in the past I think, man, maybe I gotta learn how to make movies and videos, and I like that stuff, but that's not my thing. You know, I know that. And this is a thing we're really excited about, and just you talking about it's like, hey, maybe those stories that we have and that we want to tell, and the people who we want to tell those stories, maybe we can do a podcast. Maybe I'm not gonna make a documentary, you know, because I don't know how to, I mean, and I don't really want to educate for that purpose. You know, it's just to get the story out. But if we can get the story out in a way that we're passionate, through a platform we're passionate about, you know, now I'm thinking, man, we got a lot of stories to tell, you know, like, and a lot of people that we want them to share their story. And I never even, I mean, now that you say it, it seems so dumb that I never thought about it before. We're out here, not that it's not fun talking about the Goonies and Bloodsport and stuff, but I mean, like, you know, like,
it's practice.
It's practice. We ain't gonna stop that either. But I mean, that's I mean, now, like, I'm running, my mind's running now.
Who you know, right? And it's even like, because I've also gotten joy out of seeing the positive response of the friends of the people I've had on. Right?
Yeah.
Be like, damn, I didn't even know that about you. Like that they'll say. And it is really creating a platform for them too, right? To be able to tell their story. Because sometimes you don't have the opportunity, right? And then other people can learn from those stories too. It's almost a loop, a cycle and everything. And I even have episodes, people are listening to old ones. Yeah, like just going through it and like hearing those stories of certain people, it's timeless, in my opinion. Because it's, once you get it out of those people, it's like your human story. That's humanity. That's very relatable.
Well, you know, one thing why I always have these scholars talk in front and share things is because I want them, I value their story. And I want them, no one's requiring them or asking them or challenging them to learn how to really communicate that story, you know? And so that's what part of the N2L thing is with the scholars. It's about leadership, and I think that's a huge part of it. Like, you being able to give out what's inside of you and communicate it, you know, and that might be through many different ways. It doesn't have to be speaking, but that's just one thing I know they're afraid of. So that's where I push them to it. But creating, you know, that's yeah, man. I really I'm just excited about this conversation right now.
You know what I also learned? You said value the stories like that. What I've also learned is that this is an avenue for them to learn how to value their own story. Because I've had folks who are like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna say on the podcast, right? Like, and then it becomes my, not job, but it's a fun experience for me to dive into them. And then go through the process of talking, and then and I'm digging. Let me expose you, but then expose those diamonds in you that you didn't even know, right? And then they get the positive response, like, and a story pops up, and they're like, whoa.
Well,
like that.
I think we've seen that with popular podcasters. Is like they bring on a guest. And they're fascinating, and they didn't know they were, and then now people start listening to them more, finding out about it, and then they're challenged to like, how can I get this out better? And like, oh shoot, people want to hear that thing I'm passionate about, and I think that's, yeah, man, that's really another. I mean, that's what we want to do, man.
Cool.
People to get out there.
Cool. So by next year, once I'm back. All right, that coffee shop or that broadcast studio. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay, so coming to an end, BC Poppas podcast, what are some of the last messages you'd like to do, like a shout out, a call out? What do you want people to have a takeaway from some of these stories that you've shared?
For me, man, I'm just thankful that we're able to do this, like talking and stuff. But like for me, like just go find your passion. Like go what you're passionate about, just try to pursue it. The getting there is hard, but it's like you learn through the journey of like pursuing that passion. Like, and then it's not work anymore. It's just you enjoy like what you're doing. That's what I'm feeling when I'm doing all this stuff, like other projects that I'm doing. It's all about like trying to share that passion to others, and then I get like the satisfaction that I need. Like I get filled up just sharing the passion.
What would you say is your passion if you were supposed to define it? Like
me, like I'm passionate about like a lot of things, like Jiu Jitsu, like working with kids, like trying to impact their lives in a positive way, like at the same time getting myself better, like trying to improve myself every time. So all of those things I try to connect with what I'm doing. It's not about like, oh, I'm gonna get a job, make money or stuff like that. It's all about doing that same like thing. This is what I'm trying to, this is what I'm improving myself. But at the same time, I get like in Jiu Jitsu, I get like a little bit of money off of that because I'm getting paid to teach and stuff like that. But like that's all I'm into. Like I'm all about getting better jiu-jitsu, sharing my jiu-jitsu, getting better at like impacting kids with like getting them to trying to get them to share their passion. So that's what I'm trying to like impart to them. So that's what I'm passionate about. Like seeing these kids reach their potential because I'm trying to learn myself. So like that's what I'm like all about.
Nice. Yeah, man. BC Papa John. Papa John's.
Not pizza. Come on.
Yeah.
I think for me, you know, of course, it's always along the same things that Jojo said, but I think in my heart, I really just believe that everyone deep down really wants to make an impact. You know, of course, on their family. You know, I don't think from my experience, I don't think that everyone believes they can. You know, like a lot of times, yeah, who am I? Who am I to do that? Or who am I to teach jiu-jitsu?
I have the credentials.
I'm a white belt. You know, I mean, I think those fears, not even of failure per se, or perception of other people, are those fears that stop us. But yet, that desire inside to make an impact, on a positive impact on people's lives, let people live a good life and let people know they're able to live a good life too. I think I want to tell people that that's real. Don't like put that away. When you feel that, don't think, that's just some, you know, that's for other people. Or like, that's just some weird thought in my mind. No, that thought, that feeling is real. You were made to make an impact on the people around you. And I believe that also there's a community that you're, aside from for your family, you know, but there's, you know, the kids, they always talk about like, I want to help my family. And I believe that's what we're supposed to do. But your story, your passion, that is unique to you. It can make an impact on people. It can inspire people. And so don't ignore that feeling that you want to do that, because there are limitations that say that, you know, who are you to do that? There's that other small voice that's trying to like rob that from you, steal that from you, you know, just kill and destroy that. You know, don't listen to that. And there are people out there like us. I mean, the reality like us who believe in you, because we took those chances and we believe it about ourselves now. And we're still challenged, but there's people that you can find out there that will believe in you to follow that voice that says, I want to make an impact. And that would be the most important thing I can say is don't ignore that voice, but look for other people who believe the same thing and they're gonna help you do that.
One thing I actually like to ask is, what I usually ask 3, but since there's 2 of you, let's just do 1. What would you give one piece of advice, if it's different or if it's the same from what you just said, to your younger self, to someone, let's say in their their 20s, the beginning 20s.
Another time for another podcast.
or like maybe you're not. I want to say trouble, but maybe like the most challenging time of your when you were younger, when you were the most not the best controlled. Yeah. What would your piece of advice be?
Just don't be afraid to like
go get that girl.
Just kidding. Don't be afraid to take chances. Like that's my, like, because I, like from the longest time, I'm the guy who's trying to like, say no all the time. Like I'm afraid to like expose myself a little bit, because I kind of like build myself up a little bit in my mind when I was younger. Like I have this like persona in my mind that I think I am. So I'm trying to like, oh, I'm that guy, so I'm not gonna do that. Like kind of like, and then I'm always afraid to take risk. So the more I do it, the more I can, now I'm doing, if I do all of those things, I feel like I'm learning something and I am getting better. So every time I take risks, every time I fail, for example, I learn from it. So that's my like one thing. Just take risk. Just don't be afraid to fail. Just try.
Probably, I mean, there's a million things. Well, not a million, but I'd say the main thing, if I look at like my college days, and you know, there were a few things I was passionate about, but man, I just cared so much about what other people thought of me. You know, I really did. And like, you know, I wanted, rather than being good at something, it would be enough that people thought I was good at something, you know, or had a perception that I was good at something, you know, whether it was like basketball or something. Like, well, I don't know if I'm good, but I surely want people to think I'm good, so, or whatever, like that's enough, rather than like, be good because you want to be good, and don't worry if people don't think you're good or what. I mean, pursue it, get better, you know, don't just do things because it's in your heart and because you want it, not for the sake of impressing others or having people create an image that you want people to believe you are, like, you know. And I think that, you know, yeah, that would be one of probably the biggest things, you know, like, you know, whatever, like, oh, I want to have like rims on my car or whatever that they, I mean, you know, I don't think rims are bad, you know, but like, you know, I don't think loud stereos are bad, but like, it was just like, I lived a lot like that when I was young, like worried about what people thought of me, and at the same time trying to act like I didn't care what people thought of me. But I wish I really could just have not cared, but just been like, you know, I don't know, man. But that's the main thing. I said, don't. I would say, hey guys, don't worry about what people think of you. Just be real, and people will think of what you really are.
Getting old.
Yeah.
Word.
Getting old.
You're like, I tell that to my son now. Hey, Dad.
Word. So if people are in Bacolod City, they can hit up BC Marshall on IG. That's BC Marshall.
BC Marshall on IG.
Just the letter B and C.
Yeah.
And then your Tulio and Sons.
Tulio and Sons, that's my personal, you know, just see that what the fam is doing, trying to live that N2L lifestyle. Buhay N2L, buhay, nothing to lose. Walang mawawala.
Yeah, so the foundation is N2L Foundation.
Is at N2L Foundation, the number 2 N2L Foundation. And then we got BC Poppas, Poppas. That's our IG over
That's
there.
on Spotify also.
It's on Spotify, whatever, Apple,
iTunes.
and I think Google
Play.
Yeah, something like that. So we're out there. YouTube.
And then yours,
Jokas 10, but
Jokas 10.
Yeah.
I'll link it.
The underscore.
J-O underscore.
No, JOCAS_10.
10, as in the letter 10.
Yeah.
I thought your last name was Casten.
Yeah,
That's why I was CASTEN. I was typing it a while ago. I was all funked up with all that. But thank you for coming and sharing. Thank you for bringing me, bro.
Yeah,
thank you for bringing SDC and everywhere, the Bacolod spots. Like, I'm coming back. The Kansi, the food. We had so much good food. Bro, the Kansi was good. I'm definitely gonna have the batchoy. Batchoy was good.
Batchoy.
Fuck the pre-made batchoy, bro. That I grew up on. The mommy batchoy. That's where I heard the name from. Like, I've never had like batchoy. Like, bro, that was next level.
You go get that ilo tomorrow.
Okay. And then I'm ready for the coffee spot next year that I'll see, and talking to Alton, maybe some jiu-jitsu by the beach, jiu-jitsu travel around Bacolod, Silay, like that, and then sightsee with some jiu-jitsu and coffee.
Yeah, maybe we come back to Gimaras and not get stuck.
No.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for coming. Thanks. Much love, fam.
Yeah.
Woo!
Good one.
Dude, we did 2 hours.
What? Oh, wow.